Alright, hello. So, I didn't sit to read this until Monday. I had an interesting weekend, to say the least. So, the thing I read was Good Neighbors and White Mexicans. Whatever. Very interesting. I had no background going into this because I didn't go to school on Thursday, unfortunately. I had something come up. Anyways, which is the day we usually talk a little bit about this. So the only thing I could think about is my background was originally was I have no idea where we fit. Like, I'm obviously more colored than the rest, I guess. I do consider myself a colored person. Um, Back then they didn't want to because it would give them less rights. Like, sure, there's still a lot of that discrimination now against if you're a person of color or whatnot, but overall it's still a little bit different. It's definitely better, and we're doing better as a society. All right. This was about racial discrimination in Mexicans in El Paso wanting to be like white people because it got classified as color and they didn't want that because that would make them less than, which like I understand. Like, you're talking about a time where like you want rights, you want to be represented, you want people to help you want this, you want that, and they weren't getting that, and they did not want to be like black people. They wanted to have rights, and it sounds very messed up, like very messed up, and it is bad, but it's more of like they wanted to be themselves. They wanted to like, it was a sort of like a like they wanted to like they wanted to have rights because if they were labeled as colored by El Paso, they would lose all the rights. Like, they would be segregated. I mean, the Jim Crow laws were horrible in the 1930s. They didn't get abolished till the 60s. It was very, very bad. And the thing that fought against being called color was LULAC. I have my notes here, so that's where I'm getting it from. I don't remember what it stands for, but I wrote it down, so it was important when I read it. And white people in this time were superior because of eugenics. So many people are like, in this time, they're like, oh, genetics this, like, white people, it's like the scientific, not scientific at all. Like, it's not scientific, it's proven wrongly nowadays, but eugenics was like the scientific reason and white people are better. Like, they would compare skulls and like things, like, it didn't make sense. Like, they were reaching at straws to make white people superior to colored people because apparently the color of your skin determines everything else, although we all bleed the same color. Whatever. I'll point this. It was, and then Mexico was kind of like, with the U.S., they were kind of like battling it out. Like, not battling it out, like, they were talking about it. And at the very end, Mexico did agree to make it, well, the U.S. were like, okay, you know what? They're not going to be colored. They're going to be labeled. They ended up winning. But this is, like, also where more mestizaje comes in, which is such an interesting word because it gets like a positive connotation, at least that's how I'd say it. Like, it was like the mixing of Spanish with Indian blood, which is what I guess most people are. Like, they were like a mixed race. They were like, they called them like cosmics, I believe, which was very interesting and different. And then, although Mexico and the U.S. were like different, they still believed that the whites were superior, and then they were this, and then they were that. Although it's not true, they just preferred colored because from where they went, like where they came from, like from the Europes, like, yeah, the black people were enslaved and the white people were in power, and they come here and they want to do the same. Though there's more ethnic groups here, or there's more colored people here. Those are the people that originated here, and they simply don't like that and they don't agree with it. And it creates this like dynamic of them trying to get rid of them, and it doesn't work. Like, at the end of all of this, they end up just accepting everyone, to an extent. So essentially, Franklin Roosevelt became a good neighbor to the Latin Americas. He didn't want to make Mexico angry or anything because of the Mexicans that were coming. So he was like, you know what? Let's label them back. There are not gonna be. They're gonna be like a little bit biologically different. Like they're not gonna be biologically different. Like we overturned that, and in 1940, Mexicans were white again.